He humiliated me in front of the entire restaurant staff, thinking I'd crumble, but that night, I made sure his reputation was served cold, just like the food he mocked me for. I was 31, working as a sous chef in a high-end restaurant in Chicago. The kitchen was chaos every night. Heat, pressure, and pride. Our head chef, Damien, was a local celebrity. Customers adored his charm, but behind those TV smiles, he was ruthless. He loved breaking people down, and I was his favorite target. Maybe it was because I didn't play his ego games. For months, I endured his sarcastic comments and backhanded insults. He'd take credit for my dishes, call me the assistant in front of clients, and tell the team I lacked creativity. But I kept quiet, knowing I had more talent than he'd ever admit. Then came the night that changed everything. A famous food critic reserved a private table, someone whose reviews could make or break careers. I spent days perfecting a new menu concept, fusion-style comfort dishes, blending French technique with Chicago street flavors. Damien dismissed my idea, saying it was too casual for fine dining. But a few hours before the dinner, he called me into his office. He told me his menu wasn't ready and asked to see what I'd prepared. Just in case, I didn't think twice. I handed him my full presentation, recipes, plating notes, and prep instructions. He smiled, thanked me, and told me to focus on the kitchen while he handled the service. That night, I watched from the pass as Damien served my dishes one by one. My sauces, my plating, my menu, claiming every bit of it as his own. The critic loved it, called it a fresh voice in modern dining. Damien accepted the praise like it was oxygen, promising a personal interview about his creative process. After the shift, the staff clapped for him. He looked at me, smirking, and said maybe one day I'd learn to think like a real chef. Everyone laughed. I went home that night and cried, not from shame, but rage. The next morning, I walked into the kitchen early, before anyone else. On his desk was a copy of the critic's article draft, featuring photos of the dishes and his upcoming TV appearance announcement. I knew what I had to do. I sent an anonymous email to the food critic, attaching the timestamp files, recipe drafts, and even surveillance stills from the kitchen that showed me plating those dishes. I didn't add a single word of accusation, just proof. 3 days later, the article dropped, except it wasn't the glowing review Damien expected. It was an expose titled The Stolen Flavor, how a rising chef took credit for his sous chef's work. The critic had verified everything. Damien's reputation collapsed overnight. Sponsors pulled out. His upcoming TV deal was cancelled. When he stormed into the restaurant, screaming and threatening lawsuits, I didn't even look up. HR escorted him out while the rest of the staff stood frozen. A week later, the owner promoted me to head chef, not out of pity, but respect. The first dish I served under my name was called Cold Revenge, a delicate plate of flavors Damien once called too casual. It sold out every night. Sometimes karma doesn't show up with thunder. It walks in quietly, wearing your stolen apron, and reminds the world whose hands really did the work.